Hello and welcome to Thought for April the 16th. Our readings are Numbers chapter 35, Proverbs chapter 26 and John chapter 8. And our thought is, neither do I condemn you. One of the best known and most quoted incidents in the life of Jesus is when the scribes and Pharisees brought a woman who had been caught in the act of adultery, John chapter 8 verse 3. And hypocritically asked him what judgment should be made. We deduce that their wily minds reasoned that if he agreed with their statement that in the law of Moses it commanded us to stone such a woman, verse 5, they would carry this out and then put all the blame on him before the Roman authorities. For the Romans had taken away their right to put anyone to death. That is why later they had to bring Jesus to Pilate. If, on the other hand, Jesus said she should not be stoned, they would make a big point of this before all the people, saying he did not uphold the law. They expectantly asked him, "So what do you say?" Verse 5. But he did not answer, but he bent down and he wrote with his finger on the ground, we read in verse 6. And we attempted to speculate what he wrote, maybe some account of her accuser's sins. But then comes the sequel, which most Christians know well. He stood up and said, "Let him who is without sin among you be the first to cast a stone at her." Verse 7. The result was that they went away one by one, beginning with the older ones. Verse 9. Alone with the woman, Jesus asks, "Has no one condemned you?" She said, "No one, Lord." And Jesus said, "Neither do I condemn you." But then he adds, "Go, and from now on sin no more." Verses 10 and 11. What a wonderful testimony to the mercy and compassion of Christ toward those conscious of their sins. But how is it possible to sin no more? Was Jesus asking the impossible? John's first letter provides us with some words to think about as we look at this question. He writes, "Whoever makes a practice of sinning is of the devil." Chapter 3, verse 8. We read 2 days ago that Jesus said to his 12 disciples, "One of you is a devil." John 6, verse 70. Because he knew that Judas Iscariot had sold his soul to sinful ways. Those who have not done so but struggle with sin should note what John writes in his epistle. "Let us not love in word or talk, but in deed and in truth. By this we shall know that we are of the truth, and reassure our heart before him. For whenever our heart condemns us, God is greater than our heart, and he knows everything." 1 John 3, verses 18 to 20. It is good to read the whole context of the point that John is here making. Well, as we consider that, it's good that we can be here together, that we can open up the pages of God's Word, knowing that Word to be a lamp to our feet and a light to our path.